Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. She is absolutely amazing. She's an animal communicator. Literally can communicate with animals. Know what they're thinking, know what they're trying to, even though they can't speak, verbalize. And that also means that she can communicate with animals here and also in spirit. I'm talking about Ani, A-N-I, animal intuitive. And what if you were an animal communicator? Can we all do this thing? We're going to find out today. And she's back with us. Ani, welcome. How you doing?
Good. I'm great. How are you, Steve? Happy New Year to everybody.
Happy New Year. And this is something that we've never spoken about in terms of others being able to communicate. By the way, I want to throw it out there. You still have that early bird special, or the animal communicator special, $74 for 3 hours to get that deal. Do I have that right?
Yes. Okay. So this is actually new. So there is a banner. First of all, I do want to say that by popular demand, I have had numerous clients coming to me saying, please teach me. So yes, I'm going to start teaching people how to do this.
Wow. Okay. We'll get with that. And there is okay, let's do this. There's a special, and we'll explain the special in just a few minutes, but let's go right into it. Now, you've been an animal communicator for years, and you've loved animals since you were little, and then found that you were able to truly communicate with them. I've witnessed it. We've had people on. You've done readings for them. Does becoming an animal communicator change your life?
Yes. So, okay. Let me back the train up. Because I was born with the gift, believe it or not, Steve, it's more difficult when you're born with the gift if you learn, and versus if you learn it.
Why is that?
Because I'm going to go into all the steps that it takes, when you're communicating with animals. But basically, when you're an animal communicator, you have to truly learn how to turn it on, how to turn it off. If you are to know that you're communicating with this being and not another being, in other words, you have to really be able to focus your energy onto one being at a time.
Let me make sure I have that clear. So when you're born with it and then you start realizing it as a child, you have to shut it off and turn it on, or focus away from one area to another area.
Yes. And unless you have somebody really guiding you, it can be confusing. You can be picked on and teased, as I was. You can feel different, alone. It's very difficult compared to somebody that was not born with it.
Crystal clear, because you're living it, but you don't really know what it is or how it works, as opposed to making a conscious effort to say, you know what, I think I have some intuition. I love animals. I want to learn how to be an animal communicator. And then somebody can guide you along, and whether you're thinking one thing or not, they can validate or not. Boy, that's got to be interesting, for you growing up that way, feeling that you could talk to animals, but not. Was it natural though? Does it seem like that was just the way it should be?
Definitely natural. So I do get it. I did get it inherited. My grandmother had a gift she was extremely intuitive. And, so, it was kind of like, oh, okay, well, she has the gift kind of thing,
And what, if you want to learn this, well, let me back up for one moment. Can anybody do it? Like, I've often heard that we all have intuition. We all have quote unquote psychic ability. Those who are psychics or call themselves, and I'm talking legit psychics, have figured out how to do it, or how to harness that energy. Can we all be an animal communicator?
Yes, Steve, we can.
And is that because basically what I just said, that we all have, We all have an ability, some kind of intuitive ability.
Yes, that is a big, big yes. And I do want to remind everybody that Steve and I did do a show specifically last year. Don't remember what date it was. I'll have to look that up. But we talked about the different types of intuitive gifts, that everybody has one of them there, even if it's buried.
So everybody has it. We just have to learn how to use it.
Everybody has it. And it is based on the 5 senses. It's called the 5 clairs. That's what they're called. So in other words, clairaudient, clairvoyant, right? Clairsentient. They're all based on the 5 senses.
They're all based. How do you mean?
Okay, so there is the all-knowing, the all-seeing, the all-smelling, the all-feeling. Okay, like the all-touch, all-feel, things like that. That's what I mean. So I have 3 of the 5 gifts.
Oh, okay. Interesting. And some people might have 3 out of 5. Is that possible?
Some people could have 3 out of 5. There is a woman that I know of. I don't know of her. I don't know her personally, but I know of her. She has 5 of the 5.
Wow. And that would be, I would assume, something that you could tell somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what are the steps that somebody has to take if they're thinking about being an animal communicator?
Okay, so first, the steps are learning how to connect with the animal. And that is in body or in spirit, because Steve, believe it or not, you know this because we've gone through this before, but it is the same as communicating with an animal if they're in body or in spirit. Same thing.
I'm trying to visualize that. It doesn't make a difference.
It does not make a difference because I'm not communicating with an animal 3-dimensionally. Does that make sense?
Well, it stands to reason that if you're able to communicate virtually with an animal, which you are, that you could communicate to an animal who's in spirit.
Correct. So it's the same exact thing. I've had clients that ask me all the time, and I'm going to answer this because it's almost a daily occurrence that I'll get this question. Does my animal, you're communicating with an animal who is in body, who's living, do they have to be in the same room? No, they don't. They do not.
Which you've done that. Well, same thing that you've done when you've done readings here on this podcast, where all you had was a name and a picture, and somebody on the phone, and the animal wasn't even there, and you read it, and you read it spot on. Okay,
right. So it's the same. It's the same thing. So for the first step, you are going into a meditation. You are now connecting. You turn off. I like to say you turn off your mind, and you turn on your heart mind, because your heart does have a mind. So you turn that on, and then that's how you connect with an animal. You're connecting with an animal and communicating with an animal the same way they communicate.
And how is that? Now, don't forget, we don't know any of this, so I just want to make sure. How are you doing it the way they communicate?
So telepathically. And people will say to me, what do you mean telepathically? How am I going to be able to do that? Okay. If you've ever felt in your gut uneasy about doing something, or if you've ever felt that you have to call this person, and then the phone rings and it's that person, or you're feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm concerned about that person. Then you call them, or you hear about them in a couple of days, and let's say they were in the hospital or they weren't feeling well. Well, that's your intuition telling you that. It's not anything else.
So that's your intuition, but that comes into play very much so in terms of what you're doing, and when you're reading an animal.
Correct. But
okay.
In other words, everybody has it in a different way. So we do need to know, first of all, how we receive the message That's what I wanted to get into next. So you connect with the animal. And then how do you receive their messages? Are you seeing it? Are you hearing them like in your head? Are you feeling it? Some people just have a knowing and they're like, oh, well, when they don't think about it, they're like, oh, well, I know that that's what they're telling me. Okay, that's one way. Are you, maybe you're not feeling it. Maybe you are, there are people that'll be like, oh my gosh, I smelled that. Yes, I've heard that from people too. Like I smelled my dog that has passed. Yeah.
So everybody's different in the way that they receive the messages.
Correct. And once you are practicing it, you can get more of them because I was just clairaudient and clairvoyant. Okay. And now I am clairsentient, which is feeling, which is psychic feeling. In other words, so I can physically feel. It's not something I was taught. It's just once you turn on once you're really turning it on and you're using and practicing all the time, it's like anybody else that learns how to type. It's like a skill that you're practicing.
Got it. And so it's really, you need to identify how you get that intuition or those messages. But if somebody is just, freshly starting and say, you know what, I want to see if I can communicate. Well, that brings me another question. Are there people that can't do it?
No, I'm here to tell you no. Now, can they say I can't do it? And they're second guessing themselves? Absolutely. Because I've had people that have told me before, oh, no. I can't do that. I didn't feel that is what my dog, cat, bird, horse was trying to tell me. And guess what? Then their dog, cat, bird is confirming to me that that's what they were trying to let them know.
I'm blown away. I didn't know that anybody could do this, but I truly feel from what you're saying, Ani, that you need to figure out how you're receiving the messages. Like, it's almost like when I talk with friends, I might get a message by text from one friend, or I might get a message on Facebook Messenger, or it may come in another form.
Good point, Steve. Good point.
Yeah. Everybody has a different way of, shall we say, communicating. How do you do it? Like, how do you teach us how to actually communicate? Is it truly what we're talking about here, where we're centering on how the messages are going to be received?
Yes, and then you do have to quiet yourself. You do have to not. You really have to turn off that second guessing of yourself. Like, oh well, is that what I really got? Oh no, I didn't get that. So if you're doing that, I didn't get that, you're closing yourself off. Oh no, that's not the message I received. Oh no, I can't be doing it. No. You're self-sabotaging. So right there, you have to say, okay, I'm going to put that aside for a minute. I'm going to turn off my brain and my logic. You got to turn it off. That's one of the things that you do have to learn how to do. And that's one of the things I'm going to teach you how to do, is to turn off the logic. Logic doesn't work with us.
And that's probably one of the most important things that you have to do.
Yes.
Because if you've got your brain, your head in the way, it's going to block the messages or prevent you from receiving them. We're going to take a real short break, come right back. And when we do, we're going to grab a question for Ani, and then we're going to talk about this brand new class that can show you how to be an animal communicator. We'll talk about what's included, some extras, the support, how it's all done. If you want to reach out to us, instantfeedbacksteve@gmail.com. And just to make sure, if you want to check her out while we go to the break, it's Ani, A-N-I, animalintuitive.com.
Hi, I'm Randy, and this is Dave.
We're the founders of Bombas, the most comfortable socks in the history of feet.
So comfortable, we sold and donated millions of pairs.
To sell and donate a lot of socks, we became obsessed with comfort.
We reinvented the sock from the ground up, adding comfort innovations along the way.
It worked. People tried them, loved them, told their friends about them,
helping us sell and donate millions of pairs.
Try them now at bombas.com/comfy and get 20% off your first order. That's BOMBAS.com/comfy.
Living comfortably in your home is easier than ever with a little help from Lowe's and AARP. we share a commitment to help people make their homes ready for all of life's changes. Take advantage of helpful videos, tips, and resources to guide you and your loved ones along the way. To learn more, visit Lowe's.com/livablehome. U.S. only.
With no fees or minimums on checking and savings accounts, banking with Capital One is like the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Kind of like choosing Charles Barkley in a pickup game.
We'll take Barkley.
Ha! First pick. Sorry, kids.
Yep, even easier than that. And with our top-rated app, you can bank anytime, anywhere, making Capital One an even easier decision.
Okay, here's the plan. Pass me the ball every time.
This is banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
New consumer accounts only. Approval required. Terms apply. Capital One NA, member FDIC.
Ani, Animal Intuitive, experienced in bridging the communication between you and your animal friend, providing energy therapy for your animals who are ill or traumatized. Go to AniAnimalIntuitive.com. That's ANI AnimalIntuitive.com.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. Talking today about being an animal communicator, learning from the best, and that is Ani. And she's with us. I didn't even know this was even possible. I've been talking to Ani for a while. I didn't know that she offered these classes. These are brand new, but I didn't know that anybody had the ability to do this. Diane is in Walnut Creek, California, and checks in at instantfeedbacksteve@gmail.com and says, I feel I have intuition and would love to see if I can communicate with animals. Are there some pets who cannot be communicated with?
Hi, Diane. Actually, this is how I would answer it. There are some pets that it's not that they can't be communicated with. Sometimes they don't want to talk about a certain subject. And usually 9 times out of 10, that subject has to do with trauma.
It's almost as like an adult. I don't want to talk about it.
And so let me give you an example, Steve. So Diane, here it is. I was talking to a dog. There's a lovely lady actually in California that she has rescued I don't know how many different dogs, and she does fostering. She's done it for decades. There was a dog in particular that I started to communicate with that she had at her home. She said the dog, I said, okay, this dog's name was Pearly. Actually, how cute is that? Little white dog. And I said, Pearly, do you want to, are you comfortable with sharing your past? No, I need to get to know you a little bit more first. And I said, okay. So only from experience do I know this. And that's, again, if you're new at this, I would say, okay, listen, it's not a problem. Let's ask them another question. Something easy, like, what do you like to eat? What do you like doing? Something else that they'll feel it's not a serious topic, in other words.
So the way you're approaching this is move away from the serious topic that the animal doesn't want to talk about and go with a less serious subject to at least make the connection and then go from there?
Correct. So maybe it's just what do you like to do? Or, maybe I'll ask them a question that I already know that they're going to answer, that they'll be comfortable in answering, because it's an easy question. Like, what is your favorite thing to do in your house? Or what is your favorite activity? Or do you like food? Or do you have a favorite toy? Okay. Usually too, I am reading their energy, and that is from experience. But to answer your question, Diane, no. Every animal will communicate with you in some way or another. All animals will communicate. But yes, there are certain topics that they could feel uncomfortable about communicating about.
And do you feel that once you establish that relationship of communication, eventually maybe they'll be open to talking about it?
Yes, I would say, again, 8 times out of 10. At the end, getting closer, and we've talked about other things, then I'll say, okay, well, what are you comfortable about talking about your past? And maybe I'll get a little crack of that door open. Mm-hmm. So maybe they'll share with me something, a good memory from the past.
Yep. And maybe it's as simple as getting that trust, building that relationship.
Right.
All right. Let's dig into the animal communication classes that you offer. And these are new. This is a new thing, right?
Yes, it's totally new.
And what do you include in the class?
Okay, so it is, I show you from the beginning, what is animal communication, number one? What is not animal communication? And what I mean by that is, what is animal communication? And what is animal, animal body language or animal behavior or animal training? In other words, that's what I'm going to clarify. Okay, which is a big difference.
Say that again, because I want to make sure that is clear, because it seems like it's a very important point.
Okay, so a lot of people will come to me and say, I really want my horse to understand why I purchased them. And I'll go, okay, I'll do my best. I will ask them the questions for you, and I'll tell them your answer. But remember, I can't change or sway or in any way what their answer is going to be. If they enjoy doing that or not, like if they enjoy jumping or not. Okay. So that's the difference. I'm going to tell you what they're thinking and feeling, not get them to do a task that you want them to do.
Okay. Very clear now. So let's say you have a dog that you're trying to teach to do something, whether it's a trick or just something, common. You're not helping with that. You're helping with the connection to them.
Correct. So why are they doing what they're doing? Why are they having that behavior? Why are they doing that behavior? Let's get to the bottom of that. Not, hey, I want them to sit, stay, and come.
Right.
No, that's for an animal trainer.
Gotcha. Totally got it. And thank you for making that clarification, because we wouldn't want somebody signing up for that, trying to telepathically convince animals to do certain things. And of course, they're not going to do it if it's against their will anyway. With the class, do you include anything like extras, bonuses, anything like that?
Yes, I do. So there will be the quiz, in other words, to find out which gift you do have, which intuitive gift you do have, or which ones you have. You may have more than one. And then there's going to be a cheat sheet, an introductory to animal communication cheat sheet that you can print out. It's a PDF that's going to be included. And there's also going to be not just a live class, because it's a webinar. So you're going to sign up and we're all going to be there together. There's going to be just that one, and then you're going to get the recording after emailed to you, and then you're going to get a second class recording. So it's going to be hours instead of 3.
Nice. Like right. you think of everything. Like you really. What about the support? Like, let's say somebody they went through the class, they have some questions along the way. How does that work?
Okay, so if you feel like you want more, I do provide, you would reach out to me and you would say, okay, I would like to have a mentorship, and you would decide how many hours you want. You could do 1 hour if you want to start with, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. I did actually in 2011 or 2012, was it? I picked up an animal communication book because I was having such a difficult time connecting and disconnecting mostly. And that's another thing I'm going to show you how to do, so that you disconnect with the animal and you're going back to you, to your energy, because you don't want to stay connected to that animal for the rest of the day.
Right.
That's not how it's So you're draining their energy, they're draining yours. It's really not healthy. So that's one thing. And then I had to learn that. And I had to learn how to ground myself. That's another thing altogether that I have to say that is extremely important too, that I'm going to teach. How to properly ground yourself, how to clean your energy, how to do all those things. So there's a lot that I'm going to be covering. There's going to be a question answer. There's going to be a discussion group.
And this is common stuff when people work with energy, or psychics, Reiki masters all say the same thing: clearing the energy and disconnecting from the energy. You don't want to be, walking around with, picture of cords connected to you when you connected to that animal. You don't want to be walking around with that all day long.
Correct.
So yeah, fantastic. You have to know that stuff. I think that's key. Next to harnessing the communication aspect of it. How about other things this year? Are you working on any other stuff? I mean, the classes are fantastic. Any other things on your radar, Ani?
Yeah. So actually my goal is to offer more of like a membership. So people that are taking the introductory class, then they can be part of a membership so that you can continue to practice and be part of a group and have discussions, things like that. And also that a mentorship would be included in that.
That's awesome. And it's almost a way of connecting people, and there's no way that you find that anywhere. It's not like you're going to go on Facebook. Hey, let me sign up for the Animal Communicator group, Facebook group. It's not there. I'm sure. I mean,
they do have them, but it's more for like, oh, I would like somebody to just tune into my dog or whatever, and it's kind of like a free reading.
Right.
You don't know what you're going to get.
Right. Yeah, no, exactly. This is more of I don't want to call it a support group, but it's a, colleague, a
community.
Colleague group. Community.
And it's also community. It's also a way to practice. It's also a way to bounce off information from each other.
Sure.
And, if you want to, this is where to start. If you want to become a professional communicator, you have to start at the beginning as an introductory course.
And you're learning from the best. So here's the deal. If you want to get in on this at the ground level, register for the introduction to animal communication, $74 for 3 hours. What an awesome deal.
And that also includes the bonuses.
All of that at animalintuitive.com. There's a yellow banner at the top of the page. Obviously, space is limited, and it's only going on for 2 more weeks. So get in on that at ground floor level and book now. I got to believe down the road, since this is a early stage thing, that the price is going to go up, or we might not even offer this kind of a deal for what you're getting. But if you've felt that you have an energetic connection to your animals or your pets, and you feel you have intuition, which we all have, you just have to figure out how to harness it. And that's what Ani can show you. Definitely go to the website, Ani, A-N-I, animalintuitive.com. Ani, so cool talking about this today. I had no idea that you were working on a course for people to learn what you do, but how great is that? It's almost like you're a mentor for people that want to do what you do.
So I definitely wanted to offer it. I really did. Like I said, this was not my idea. There were a lot of clients that were coming to me. So I want to make everybody happy. So yes, absolutely.
Ani, animalintuitive.com. Ani, thank you so much. We'll talk next time.
Thank you. All right. Bye-bye.